I've also been a sales professional and worked as a senior business development manager for a company called Shutterfly and LifeTouch. If you're familiar with school pictures or yearbook, you've come across LifeTouch before. And I know as a sales professional, when your performance is measured by your sales activity, the amount of new accounts you bring in and the revenue you bring in, how stressful that is, especially when you have multiple other tasks that you're responsible for. But what I do also know is that when you go out and get that organic growth and you find that opportunity and you get to move it to a closed one, how exhilarating and validating that experience is, and that adrenaline rush when you actually get to go and do it. It's the part of what makes our job super fun, rewarding, and the reason why we get up and do it every day. For those of joining, we're covering a lot of content here today in a very short period of time. So if you haven't set up the AHA slides on your phones through the QR code, please do so. Use the chat, use the emojis. My colleagues, Clint and Heather, are here with us today. They're going to monitor the chat and help answer any questions. I'm going to stay on for about 15 minutes after. So if you do have questions and you want to join me after to answer them, I'd be happy to do so. And if not, please reach out either through email or online so that I can support you in your role. When we look at prospecting, quite often there's a lot of reluctance to actually do it. There's really 6 types of people that fall into different categories of reluctance. One is that elitist, somebody who's embarrassed to make that prospecting phone call. Another one is that executive adverse, the people who make the phone calls at 5 o'clock at night and leave a voice message, said they made 25 calls, or maybe they're calling into just secretaries and office admin staff and not getting to decision makers. There's those who say that cold calling is dead, my phone is lava, can't do it, doesn't work. And they're absolutely allergic to actually getting out and doing the activity. One of my favorite ones is that rejection, the sensitivity. I would love to hear in the chat or a thumbs up if you've ever been on the phone and somebody's hung up on you, said something terrible, made you go, oh no, what have I done? I mean, we've all been there. We have a million of them and I'd love to hear them. And then quite common, we have somebody who's an empath and we have that reason for, I don't want to bother somebody. It's Friday afternoon. No one's going to pick up the phone. It's Thursday before a long weekend in summer. Nobody's going to want to talk to me. I don't want to bother them. We quite often find ourselves in this reluctant stage. And then there are those who get ready to get ready. They're always building a script. They're always eager to do it, yet there's always something holding them back from actually going to do it. So I would love to know for everyone here today, where do you fit? What category do you fit in? So I'll give you a few seconds to take out your phones and go to that slide. I would absolutely love to see where you fall. We'll see some results as they start coming in. All right, we have a few results coming in. Empath, yes, I completely agree. Sensitive, yes, it's hard to hear that rejection. When someone says, no, I don't want to talk to you, leave me alone, don't call me ever again. They block you. It's a terrible feeling. Some of you think the phone is lava. Absolutely. These are common. You are not alone. We've all experienced this at some place in some form, especially when we're dealing in a modern world where we are competing for everybody's time. We have a short period of time to get in front of somebody. We need to overcome that reluctance and learn how to do it. Some things that we've learned through Sandler, 40% of the people that we've polled, our sales professionals, don't like prospecting. It's the hardest piece. We know that the amount of engagements and times we need to connect with somebody is higher than it's ever been before. And then when we finally connect with someone, we find out that, hey, you know what, we're not a good fit, don't qualify. And about 50% of those, we're not a good solution and we're not a good match. What I'm going to give you today are 6 best practices. I'm going to go through some activity pretty quickly. Each of these best practices, we will in future dates look at individually. So if there's something that stands out to you, like AI technology, learning how to network better, please go check our list of events and our webinars, because we will be diving into these a little bit deeper. So we're going to learn today, how do we change that behavior? How do we stop selling? What are different techniques that we can use to overcome that and be successful at that? How do we use technology and AI as our sidekick to make us more effective, save us time? And then how do we branch out to different networking events, use that to our advantage? And how do we create a personal brand online? So first off, I'm going to challenge you with the idea to stop selling. What does that mean? That means, and I truly believe, that prospecting is not about you, the seller, where they fit in your pipeline and what you want to achieve. It is about the buyer and their journey, what their needs might be, what motivates them, why they might be looking at your services, why they might need your services. It is not about you sharing all of the features and benefits of your product and sharing that and trying to fit that into their world. To understand that a little bit better, we kind of look a little bit at the traditional buyer-seller dance. We all go through a series of process when we're selling something or when we're buying something. We all have a technique that maybe it's structured a little bit in the organization that you're in. Or as a buyer, how you research a product, how you look at, a stove that you're going to buy, and how you come to the conclusion which one is right for you. And it all starts at the very beginning with expressing interest. And this is very different in today's world, because expressing interest doesn't just mean that they saw an ad or it was an inbound call. It's all about Zoom info and, hey, there's a CEO of a manufacturing company that clicked and said they're looking for sales training, and that's a search that they did. Or it's, hey, this person clicked 10 times on my website on this link, they must be interested. So we reach out. It's a very different world of how people express interest, and how we then decide that our pieces in our catalog, and we make an analysis of what their needs might be. And we might ask them a few questions, and we get engaged, and they act motivated. And we're super excited because they're motivated, learning more about what we can offer. And from there, we present, we give them a proposal, we tell them what our price is. Here's all the things that we can do. We give them all the features and benefits that we think fit into what they're looking for. But buyers are savvy, right? Buyers have, just like us, at the touch of their fingers, access to research. I'm not going to necessarily trust that you're the only person that has the right result for them. They start researching, they start learning, start obtaining tons of information. And then you go into close and say, can we do this? Can we make this happen? And then all of a sudden you get all of these objections of, well, you know what, you're priced differently than this company, and why is this higher? And they're including this. I need to go talk to a manager. Didn't know there was another decision maker. And you try to handle all of those objections of why they need to work with you. And a bunch of time goes by. And slowly that excitement at the beginning starts to spread out. And we're now at the end of November. And the end of our fiscal year is coming up with a month. And that lead that we were so excited about it in March is hanging in our pipeline. We're so scared to put it as closed loss, because then conversation is done and our client starts to disappear. What do? We follow up, we chase. We end up super frustrated at this lead that we thought was going to get us to the next level in our business. This lead that we were so excited to share at our sales meeting ends up ending, and there's no result and no reasoning for why it didn't go through. And then we reflect back and we go back to the prospecting work that we did and realize, hey, you know what? Maybe that didn't work. Maybe the activity I'm doing isn't successful. So what I can tell you through Sandler, what we've learned, your time is just as equal, just as valuable as the person that you're trying to contact. You don't want to be chasing. You want to be at an equal level. Time is going to kill all deals. The buyer doesn't know what you haven't instructed and told them to do. So we need to learn how to set some parameters, the conversations that we're having. And I truly, truly believe that you need to have the conviction that what you are selling before you pick up the phone, before you go and prospect, is truly valuable and worth communicating and having somebody's time. So to kind of wrap that up, prospecting is not about sharing your product information. Stop selling. Stop trying to sell all your features and benefits. Customers, just because they've clicked on a link and you think they might be motivated and interested, not necessarily at the stage that they they might be in your cycle. And their emotional needs are not there to be met. We need to toughen up, and we need to also have the conviction that what we do and what we bring to the table has value. How do we do that? Well, we teach a technique on something called a no pressure conversation. It's really on 4 steps that are out here today: a pattern interrupt, 30-second commercial. I like to think of it as your elevator pitch 2.0, your YouTube short, your TikTok that captures who you are in a very short period of time. And we're going to go through that on the next slide. And then how you maybe can identify some of the motivation and impact of why somebody might be looking to make a change. And then a call to action, which is not a proposal. A call to action is really about inviting them to an event, maybe getting them to tour your facility, maybe sitting down and having a short 15-minute conversation with you. It's not about closing a deal. So what does a pattern interrupt look like? I think the really 2 key pieces for here today that I can give you some tips on how to do things differently in this modern world of prospecting is the pattern interrupt and your 30-second commercial. A pattern interrupt is a way to, I think the best way to put it is as an example. Let's say I was calling Jeremy, I decided I'm calling him. Jeremy answers the phone and he says, "Hey, it's Jeremy." And I say, "Hey, Jeremy, how are you today? It's Danielle from Sandler. Here's what I do. Here's ABC things that I can offer you. Can we set up a time to do a demo?" And Jeremy's probably going to say, "I'm not interested. We don't need your services." Click and hang up. To do it differently, and one thing to really think about when you pick up that phone, call Jeremy and you say, "Hey, Jeremy, it's Danielle." And you pause. It's uncomfortable and it's silent. And Jeremy's in his mind going, "Who's Danielle? Why would I know her?" And he might say, "Danielle, sorry, where are you from?" And you take that moment to say, be disarmingly honest and say to Jeremy, "You know what, Jeremy? We haven't met before. I'm doing some dials. I thought of you. I have no idea if it makes sense for us to talk. Can I take 30 seconds of your time to let you know why I'm calling? And then you get to decide after if it makes sense for us to talk further." You stopped selling. You've given them the opportunity to opt in and out. You set an expectation of amount of time that you will take of theirs, 30 seconds. And you've created that moment where they are interested in what you have to say because you haven't told them anything more than who you are and maybe the company name. And I challenge you to give it a try because it does work and it is effective. That kind of leads us into then once you've got that time, you've got 30 seconds, and 30 seconds might even be a lot. We know you've got attention span on social media. I think it's like 8 to 10 seconds to capture somebody's attention. In a phone call, if you're taking 30 seconds, take 30 seconds. Don't push it any further than that. All you really want to do is you want to introduce yourself, who you are, your position, company you're with. You want to identify that maybe some of the clients you've supported that might be similar to them and some of the challenges that they faced, you've helped them overcome, and the benefit to that client and what you were able to help with. And then you want to give them that hook question that gives them the opportunity to opt in or out, to talk to you further. It's structured a little bit like this. I know we don't have enough time to go through it in full detail, but I truly, truly believe if you spend time in capturing a second commercial, you can use it at any networking event. It's the start of all your communications. your marketing campaigns. It's how you reach out to connect to people on LinkedIn. It's highly, highly effective. So now that we kind of have an idea of what it looks like to stop selling, putting the buyer first, how we position ourselves with this 30-second commercial, how do we do that in a way that is going to have the maximum impact in a very short period of time? For so long, it was accustomed to, hey, you know what? It's Sunday morning. I'm just going to reach out to all these people on LinkedIn. I've got time. Maybe this week, you know what? I got time to do some drop-ins. I'm going to pick these 20 places that I'm going to get to this week. Maybe then I'll follow up with a phone call. Be in 2 weeks from now. If they don't hear back, I'll send them an email. I have found, and we have found in the work that we've done here at Sandler, the more impact you can have at the very, very beginning of your prospecting calling, and when you create your prospecting list, the more successful you're going to be on building that relationship. So combo really means taking some of those activities that you have been doing and put them all together one time. So that could look like busy, blocking 2 hours of a Thursday afternoon, picking 10 people that you want to reach out to, craft a 30-second commercial based on that person and the industry that they're in, call them, hopefully talk to them. If not, leave a voice message, create a video. I know everybody's cringing at the idea of creating a video, but visual and movement does work. Picture how many times as a buyer you click delete, delete, delete on that text of emails. Create something that has visual and impact using your 30-second commercial, and then follow up and connect the dots in an email. And that is the start of every marketing campaign. You can then put them in your sequence of activity, but you want to go full in at the very, very beginning with a combo approach. If you're not comfortable with video to start, I encourage you to try it, but you can do it in other ways. And I put some other combos in 1 and 2 and 3. They work really, really well because we're deleting. We're always getting fed so many ads at any given time, and we need to build some rapport and familiarity with the people we're trying to reach. The best way to also do that, because there's a lot of content here that's new and now I have to go back and create it, is leveraging AI. So technology and AI is not meant to replace the activity. It's really meant to be your sidekick to support you and make you more effective and shorten the amount of work that you're doing. Curious to know, when we talk about AI and prospecting, where are you at? Please use the QR code. Would absolutely love to know where everybody is at on this call when it comes to AI. So it's great to see that some of us are using it. I love, okay, we've got somebody who's super savvy. That's fantastic. Some that are confused to get started. I'm going to share this with you, that if you aren't using AI, you are behind your competition. And using AI, especially if you look at it from a business owner, cost to that, or maybe you're an organization and you're trying to, how do I implement that? It across board takes time and resources. But I can tell you that there are ways to use AI in your role today, to start today, that don't cost anything. And how I like to leverage AI is, for example, a 30-second commercial or a script that somebody new that I'm reaching out to. I'll use programs like ChatGPT. I'll say, hey, create a script to reach a CEO of a manufacturing company. Create a prospecting script. If I don't like it, I tell it to shorten it. Add Sandler methodology. Let's say I want to create a blog, or I want to create a LinkedIn post and I need help with the content. Or I have a poll that I want to create and a survey. I can ask AI for ideas to help create some of that content and personalize it. I can also create an image. So Canva is great that it has free tools, but maybe the services you need are paid for. You don't have Photoshop. You can use things like Bing if you have a Microsoft account and create an image. And these are a few that I use. I know it's a busy slide, but I would encourage you that if you are at the research stage, if you're confused on how to get started, after today, go get ChatGPT, go into Bing, and just start playing around. Every time that you're researching a company that you want to prospect, ask for a summary on the company, start asking ChatGPT questions, go into images, ask it to create, a cat sitting on top of a mountain singing with blue skies, and just be wowed at what actually comes up in like 20 seconds. It's quite impressive. And our next session is December 15th. We're going to go into some of these tools live and use them real time to show you how you can improve your prospecting skills using AI. So I encourage you, we'll put the link to the webinar events in the chat. I encourage you to sign up for that one because we will dive a little deeper into actually using these activities live. Also, to help get you started, we use ChatGPT, like I said, a lot. So if you take a look at that QR code, well, if you need a link to it for a digital copy, please let me know. Here are 20 tested ChatGPT prompts that we know have been effective and helped salespeople. Certainly in the chat as well, if you are savvy, I know some of you are savvy with AI, please share some of the prompts that you use. I'll date myself in saying that at some point I had to learn how to use the internet. I had to find phrases in search optimization and ask questions. And really AI is at that same place. You need to find the best prompts to make you more effective. And we've done some work for you to figure that out. So here we look at networking. Again, here's another one that if you aren't out networking, you're probably behind your competition. Networking, and honestly, especially post-pandemic, everybody is eager to get out there and see people face to face. I like to think of it as it is saving you so much time because you get to borrow somebody else's audience, get in front of key decision makers that you could never get on the phone with before. You didn't have to do any of the work other than just show up to that event. I also like to think of it that before you go to a networking event, have an intention, set your intention. Maybe it's just getting LinkedIn connections. Have the QR code for your LinkedIn profile ready on your phone. Maybe you're the person that will go in and just sit at the table right away and not talk to anybody. Have the intent that before you sit down, you're going to talk to 5 people. You only brought 5 business cards. Maybe you've been trying to get in touch with that keynote speaker or somebody on the panel and you haven't been able to do it, and you see that they're presenting at an event. So you have a plan of how you're going to capture a couple minutes of their time to introduce yourself. Step out of your industry. If you're in print, maybe you want to go to a tech talk and learn more about some of the startups that are pitching out there. There's such a wealth of great opportunities to go network. Some of my favorites, one was yesterday, was the Weckham breakfast for Manitoba business women entrepreneurs and owners. You leave so inspired and encouraged, and it's amazing people that you meet. So get out of your comfort zone and go to a networking event. It's a great form of prospecting. It's going to overcome some of the objections that you have when you're on a phone, traditionally with email, and build a familiarity so that when you do call somebody, they will know who you are. And finally, that kind of leads to how you create content. We're going to have some future webinars on this. Everyone knows that when you meet somebody, the first thing they're probably going to do, they're going to go look for you on LinkedIn. So how do you represent yourself online? How are you aligning your content to your customer's journey? What does my personal brand look like outside of work hours, but represent myself in the industry that I'm in? And how do I overcome some of that head trash that, oh no, I said the wrong thing at that event, or how do I overcome that? Really important to take a strong inventory of the content that you have online. Please join us in the future. So I have rambled on about half an hour on some of the best practices. I do hope you take the time to join us for some of the future ones where we'll go through them a little bit more depth. One more QR code for you. I'd love to get your feedback on value and what you've learned here today. And certainly, if we can help and support you in any way within your organization, please let us know.